I still remember the moment he grabbed my arm and shouted, "You think you can steal from my store and walk away?"
You think you can steal from my store and walk away?
Everyone in the aisle stopped. Phones came out, and I stood there, holding my daughter's hand, accused of stealing a loaf of bread I had already paid for. What none of us knew was that someone else was watching too. Not a customer, not security, the CEO. And what happened next destroyed one man's career and changed my life forever. My name is Grace. I'm a single mother of two. And that afternoon I was just trying to stretch my last $40 until the end of the week. You learn how to do math differently when you're poor. Every item becomes a decision: milk or eggs, bread or fruit. That day, I chose bread. The supermarket was crowded, louder than usual. My youngest, Mia, clung to my coat while I pushed the cart with one hand and checked prices with the other. I remember thinking how tired I was, how badly I just wanted to go home, make sandwiches, and pretend everything was okay for one evening. At checkout, I used the self-service machine. I scanned each item carefully, watching the total climb higher than I wanted. When I scanned the bread, the machine beeped and flashed green. Paid. Done. I bagged it and left. That should have been the end of the story. It wasn't. I had barely made it 5 steps past the exit when a hand clamped onto my shoulder. "Mom, you need to come with me." I turned to see a tall man in a manager's badge staring at me like I was something he had scraped off his shoe. "You didn't pay for that bread." I blinked, confused. "Yes, I did. I scanned everything." His lips curled into a tight smile that wasn't friendly at all. "Don't lie to me. I watched you." People were already staring. I could feel their eyes crawling over me, judging, measuring. I could hear Mia whisper, "Mommy, what's wrong?" I tried to stay calm. "Please, check the receipt. It's right here." He didn't even glance at it. Instead, he raised his voice. "Ladies and gentlemen, this woman is attempting to leave the store without paying." The humiliation hit me before the fear did. You don't understand what public shame feels like until you're the one standing in the center of it. People stepped back from me like I was contagious. Someone started filming. I heard a woman whisper, "I knew it." I kept saying the same words over and over. "I paid. Please just check the system." But the manager, his name tag read R. Conti, was enjoying this. I could see it in the way he puffed his chest, the way he repeated the accusation louder each time. "You people always think you can get away with it." You people. That sentence hurt more than anything else. He grabbed the bread from my bag and held it up like evidence. "This is theft." My hands were shaking, not because I was guilty, but because I knew how this looked. Poor clothes, discount groceries, a crying child. In his eyes, I already fit the profile. He told me to come to the back office. "I'm calling the police," he said. I hesitated. Everything in me screamed not to go. But what choice did I have? I couldn't just run. That would make me look guilty. As we walked past the checkout lanes, I saw the self-service screen still displaying my transaction history. I pointed. "Please, just check there. It shows everything." He ignored me. What I didn't know at that moment was that the system had already flagged something very important. The bread had been paid for. Hundreds of kilometers away, inside a quiet corporate office, the company's CEO was conducting a routine live feed audit of stores. He had access to every camera, every aisle, every checkout. When he switched to our store's feed, he expected to see normal activity. Instead, he saw a store manager dragging a terrified woman, me, toward a back room while customers filmed. He paused the feed and rewound it. He watched me scan the bread. He watched the screen flash green. Then he watched his manager accuse me anyway. The back office smelled like dust and stale coffee. He told me to sit down and not move. Mia started crying. I held her close and tried to keep my own tears from falling. "Why are you doing this?" I asked quietly. He shrugged. "People like you need to learn there are consequences." That was when fear finally turned into anger. I did nothing wrong. He leaned forward, lowering his voice. Then why are you so nervous? Because I was scared of men in authority, because I had been treated like this before, because I knew how easily the world believes someone like him over someone like me. Back at headquarters, the CEO watched as the manager ignored company policy after company policy. No verification, no receipt check, physical contact with a customer. That was when he did something no one in that store had ever heard before. He patched directly into the store's intercom system. I was mid-sentence, trying again to explain, when the loudspeakers crackled. "Manager Conti, step away from the customer immediately." The manager froze. I froze. The entire store went silent. This is corporate headquarters. Release the customer and bring yourself to the front of the store. For the first time since the ordeal began, I saw fear in his eyes. We walked back into the main store, but this time the roles had shifted. Customers were still filming, but now they were filming him. He tried to smile, tried to act like everything was under control, but his hands were shaking. Over the speakers, the voice continued. Security footage confirms the item in question was paid for at 14:22. Your actions are in direct violation of company policy. I felt my knees weaken. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't mistaken. I had been right all along. 15 minutes later, a black car pulled up outside the store. A man in a suit stepped out and walked straight in like he owned the place, because he did. He came directly to me first. "I am so sorry," he said, his voice sincere. "You were wrongfully accused in our store." No one had ever apologized to me like that before, not in public, not with everyone watching. Then he turned to the manager. "Mr. Conti, you're relieved of your duties effective immediately." The CEO didn't stop there. He had already reviewed past footage. This wasn't the first time the manager had targeted vulnerable shoppers. There were other incidents: elderly customers, immigrants, people paying in coins. He had been abusing his authority for months. And now there was undeniable proof. The CEO asked security to escort the manager out. He protested, raised his voice, even tried to blame me. But the cameras had captured everything. The same cameras he thought made him powerful were the ones that ended his career. After the manager was gone, the CEO turned back to me. "In addition to a formal apology, we will be compensating you for the distress caused today." I didn't care about the money, I just wanted my dignity back. But what he did next surprised me. He asked about my situation, my job, my children. No one in authority had ever asked me that before. A week later, I received a call from corporate headquarters. They were launching a new community outreach program to improve how staff treated customers, especially vulnerable ones. They asked if I would be willing to share my experience and help train staff. Me, the woman who had been accused of stealing bread. I said yes. The video went viral. Millions of people watched the moment the manager was exposed. Strangers online called me brave, though I didn't feel brave at all. I had just been trying to buy groceries. But something had changed inside me. For the first time, someone powerful had stood on my side. Today, I still shop for bread. I still count my coins sometimes. But now I also stand in front of rooms full of store employees and tell them my story. I tell them what it feels like to be humiliated in public, what it feels like to be judged before you speak. And I remind them that every customer they see is someone's mother, someone's child, someone fighting battles they can't see. I often think back to that moment in the aisle, the moment he grabbed my arm and accused me of stealing. He thought no one important was watching. He was wrong. Because sometimes the people you think are powerless are only one witness away from being heard. And sometimes justice doesn't arrive in a courtroom. Sometimes it comes through a speaker system in the middle of a grocery store while you're still holding a loaf of bread.